Listen, I've got nothing bad to say about Jason Brown. I think he did the best possible job you could have asked for, beating Florida, beating Auburn. I think he'll forever go down, in a positive light to Gamecock fans for being sort of this underdog story and finding a way to get those wins. But the quarterback position, while it's not all on that, we could talk play calling, we could talk offensive line. Of course, they were the problem. But Alex, I don't know if you realize this, and I posted this on Twitter yesterday. Since 2015, so 6 years, the Gamecocks have started 11 different quarterbacks. And I understand some of those have been due to injury, and I understand. I get it. But 11 quarterbacks.
It seems like a lot.
I can go down the list if you like now.
No.
I
believe you just.
I don't know. I think
this might
take you. This might take you down memory lane. Mitch, Orth, Nunez, McElwain, Bentley, Scarnecchia, Helinski, Hill, Doty, Nolan, and Brown. So all those, and there's been others that have played. I mean, I didn't mention Dak Joyner. He didn't start a game, but he played. So there have been others that have played as well. But my point being is this. Again, we talk about, Shane Beamer's to-do list as Gamecocks head coach. And I promise to those tuned in, we're going to get in the Satterfield discussion here in just a second. But when it comes to going into next season and the future kind of football, I don't know how high on the priority list it is for Shane Beamer, but finding truly QB1, finding that guy, I mean, that to me has got to be damn near his top priority moving forward.
It has to be. I mean, if you look around at anybody that's successful, that's what the, general cog in the wheel is, right? I mean, like Georgia's kind of an aberration, just because that defense is. I don't know what other adjective otherworldly to describe their defense. Yeah, like this year, like we could be starting at quarterback for Georgia and it'd probably still be 12-0 right now. But the main thread in all of that is finding that consistent signal caller back there that understands the offense, where everybody's supposed to be, what they're supposed to be doing, and knows how to make the changes that are necessary. And until you get that piece in place, you're like having offensive consistency is going to be really hard, no matter who your offensive coordinator is. Right. And, obviously we'll get into the Satterfield discussion, but I've got a lot of takes on that too.
Yeah. Well, people talk about too, like, oh, you got to have the right OC to have recruits want to come play with this guy. Well, when you have that big time quarterback too, that helps. That helps bring offensive playmakers like, hey, this guy's going to get me the ball. And now that the season's concluded, right? The regular season's concluded. There were a lot of fans who thought I favorited to Luke Doty and I was biased to Luke Doty, and I wasn't. My stance will always be the same. Play the best player. Just play the guy who gives you the best chance to win. But to be transparent, selfishly, did I want Luke Doty to flourish and develop into that guy? Yes. Because who doesn't want that guy to cling to? Is anybody else tired of going week to week to week and not knowing who our quarterback is? I mean, that to me, Alex, just gets exhausting. And I can't imagine, again, you've been in the locker room. For a fan, that's exhausting. And I know you just go do your job regardless, but that's got to be tough. That's got to be tough on guys on the offense and the offensive line, even to not know, like, who's our guy? Who's our leader? You know what I mean? Who is our leader? Who's the guy we turn to when things get tough, right? And so, again, finding that guy, with all due respect to everybody on the roster, whether that's Braden Davis in recruiting, whether that's the transfer portal, hint, hint, you got to find that guy you can cling to and say, this is QB1. This is who we're rolling with, not only for the fan base, but more importantly, those guys on that roster, the guy that they can turn to.
100%. Well, I mean, look at Coach Spurrier's tenure. Yeah. Like, when did it turn the corner?
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was
when we were rolling.
Yeah, for me, it was Garcia. Garcia comes in and becomes that dude. I mean, truly, you can judge him all you want, but he was beloved by his teammates. And that, it showed. It very much so showed.
Correct. Garcia comes in and becomes that dude, and then Connor Shaw comes right behind him and becomes that dude. And since Connor left, well, that's not true. Dylan had a good year that 1 year. But since, 2014, that has just been a dumpster fire across the board. And until you get that straightened out, it's gonna be tough to find the offensive consistency I think everybody's looking for. And I think your point to 11 different people starting over 6 years at the quarterback position contributes a lot to that. Yeah. And certainly, like, from an offensive coordinator discussion, it's like it's frustrating to listen. Like, look, I completely understand you got to get rid of Satterfield take. Completely understand that. But like when I'm watching the game Saturday night, and the first interception we throw is to a ghost, like, it's hard for me to blame that on Satterfield, because if you'll notice in that replay, Jaheim Bell's running by himself down the sideline, and we're throwing an out route. And I don't know. I don't think that, I'm not trying to throw blame on Jason Brown. I'm just saying, like, I don't know that that's an accurate measure of what is being called and being put on the field.